I'm Joe Kramer, composer of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to listen to this podcast from the Geekcast Radio Network.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. TFU and Mike here for Altered Geek, Unleashed, Unlimited, Unplugged, whatever you want to call it. We've had many names for this podcast. And this episode, I just want to let everyone know, was supposed to be a segment in last week's episode, in episode 125. It's myself and DJ Valentine from Simplistic Reviews talking about superhero TV spoiler etiquette. DJ live tweets several superhero shows as they air. So I wanted to have a discussion on that based on Scanner 51's comments to me on Facebook and Twitter about spoiling superhero shows. So that's where this came from. Originally, like I said, it was supposed to be a segment in last week's show. I don't want to really speak for Steve, but I'm kind of going to speak for Steve. We're kind of altering the future of Altered Geek. It's going to go through some really cool and interesting, fun changes. It's going to really, help Steve have his own voice. But this week, we just couldn't really get a full-on episode done. So thankfully, here's this little clip. That's about 30 minutes or so with DJ and myself talking about superhero etiquette. Please enjoy this. Get altered, get geeky.
And here we go. My name is Steve Megatron, and I am the geekiest man alive. To the outside world, I'm an ordinary rental manager, but secretly, with the help of my friends at GCRN Studios, I review media and find other altered geeks like me. I hunted the information on my past, but in doing so, I opened up a whole new world of possibilities, and I am the only one geeky enough to unleash them. I am the Altered Geek.
It is time for Superhero Supreme here on Altered Geek Unleashed. This is episode 125, as Steve has probably already told you guys. I am TFU and Mike, and continuing our segment thing here, I've brought along with me DJ Valentine from Simplistic Reviews. Yeah, that's right.
That's the name.
I always want to say In Session Film for some odd reason.
I'm kind of like the redheaded stepchild of In Session Film, but my true home is Simplistic Reviews.
And we're here because a buddy of mine's at Scanner51 on Twitter. This happened a couple of months ago, so we're a little late in this. I think this actually happened right before Christmas, right before all the TV shows, the superhero shows, and all that went on break. Because my Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff are connected, so that way I only have to write one thing on Twitter and it goes everywhere. Even though I have to keep it under 140 characters, but that's not that hard.
For you.
Well, when I'm writing a quote of something someone said on a television show, and the quote is less than 2.5 sentences long, it's not that hard. I don't remember if this was Supergirl, Flash, or whatever, because I think this is before Legends started, this is because Legends didn't start till January. So I don't remember if it was Supergirl or Flash or Arrow or hell, it could have even been Gotham. I know it wasn't Agents of because I don't watch the Agents of shows. So I wrote something, and this was the day after the night the show aired. So this was like either a Wednesday morning or a Thursday morning.
Right.
Okay? Because I am a cord cutter. I no longer have actual cable television. It's a whole other long story that we won't get into. And it's not because of lack of funds or anything. It's because of the apartment I live in.
Hackman, an enemy of the state. You're living in like a building, like the jar, where you're completely cut off from technology. Right now, we're doing this podcast under a bridge.
Yeah. The funny thing is the technology he had in the jar wasn't all that half bad, honestly. God, enemy of the state reference. Oh my God!
sorry. I'm a big fan of
I love that movie, and I'm trying to think, when did that come out? That was 90. Was it 96? Is that movie 20 years old?
I
don't remember.
I think that's between Bad Boys 1 and 2. So yeah, it's around that area.
It's somewhere around there. So anyway, back to the superhero stuff here.
Yes.
I tweeted something. It was a quote, or it was a line, or it was something to do with one of the shows.
Right.
And my buddy Scanner51 on Facebook said, "Oh, well, I haven't had a chance. Is that a spoiler? I haven't had a chance to watch the show yet." And I understand everybody watches the show at different times. I tend to stay up as late as I can to see if it shows up on Hulu at like 1, 2 a.m. Normally it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But, but by this time it was 7, 8, 9 a.m. the next day. I said, no, the show aired last night. It's not really a spoiler. And he said, oh, well, I hadn't had time to see it and whatever else. I'm like, well, sorry, but it really isn't a spoiler. It was a
line.
it was a line, or it was something that I appreciate, like a reference that I appreciated, like this past week. Spoilers right now if you have not seen Supergirl. This past week they did For the Girl Who Has Everything, which is the Black Mercy. And I now know that that's part of an Alan Moore story, but I originally knew that as a Justice League Unlimited Bruce Timm universe cartoon episode.
Right.
They did for
Starro, I think, was what they use in the JLU.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. No. Yeah, you're right. They did. They did use Starro, but they referenced the Black Mercy.
Yeah, it was some kind of weird combination of things.
Yeah, it was whatever. Anyway, so where am I going with this? So what DJ is doing here is that he is.
What am I doing?
He's one of these people. I don't know. What are you doing here? He is one of these people that live tweets the superhero shows as they air. And I'm wondering what you actually, how you do your live tweeting, how that progresses. Do you do full spoilers? Do you not even worry about it? Do you only give hints and references, that kind of thing? I'm so tired of the whole thing of, like, for me, spoilers, I don't care. Like Star Wars Episode 7, I knew the entire story of the movie before I even saw the damn movie. I didn't care. I just wanted to know before I saw it. I just wanted to know what I was getting into, whatever. I'm one of those people that I just don't care about spoilers.
Right.
Now, I say that, and I bitched my buddy Doug out the other night because he's like, oh, they showed Supergirl and Flash. I'm like, I haven't seen it yet. Shut up. So I know I'm doing a double standard here, but that's just between friends.
You could run for president. But no, I mean, I was kind of brought into, other than tweeting like casually by myself, I was kind of brought into live tweeting by Bubba Wheat, and he has a channel at @channel_superhero, and he just asked me, hey, this is this is maybe a year ago, and he's like, hey, do you want to live tweet an episode of Gotham for me? And I was like, sure. And I essentially, other than if you've ever followed me on Twitter, I'm this stream of consciousness, how Twitter is meant to do. I kind of treated it like an audio commentary because we do audio commentaries on Simplistic Reviews. So it's essentially either me making fun of it, or because I asked him, am I supposed to shill for the show, or he's like, no, just say whatever you want, and I'm essentially a running commentary on the show. And I thought about the spoiler thing, but because the way that his Twitter handles set up, it's, if you're following that, when Gotham's on, we're going to be talking about Gotham, or at the time, or Supergirl, or vice versa. Because I live tweet every Supergirl, Gotham, The Flash. I don't live tweet Gotham anymore, but I get all those shows. But if you're following that Twitter handle at the time, I'm not going out of my way to spoil it, but I might say, hey, Martian Manhunter, or something. I might just say it. So it's a spoiler. I never had that in mind. I'm more doing it. That's
what it. Now that you say that, that's what it was when they had the reveal. The
Yes.
first time they had the reveal, and I was like, I knew it because Steve Megatron, who is going to be talking to you guys a little bit later in this episode or whatever else for the Altered Geek here.
Right.
As soon as I said that, one of our other friends, Michael Wilson, said, oh, no, I thought it was this, and this, and this. And Steve was like, oh, no, it's going to be Cyborg Superman, blah, 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 blah. Look at Hank Henshaw's bio, blah, 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 blah. And, okay, outside of, like, diehard comic and superhero cartoon, like, how many people of a general audience here, not us, not geeks, just general, how many people are going to know Cyborg Superman more or less than Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter has been in everything for the last 15 to 20 years. I mean,
that's kind of what some of
he's
the stuff. If I'm live
Mhm.
Supergirl, and I know when I hear Hank Henshaw, I'll drop Hank Henshaw with Cyborg Superman because sometimes people who are following me are comic book fans. Some people are just CBS. I always want to watch the new thing fans. So and sometimes if I'm live tweeting, somebody will drop it to me and I will retweet it because I didn't know like there's Easter egg. Like there was an instance on an episode of Supergirl. I guess spoiler alert for this show where Hank Henshaw or whoever we want to call him, Hank Henshaw essentially incapacitates Supergirl so he can kill some person that screwed up with his family. And I had live tweeted, this is essentially the exact same scene in The Flash where Patty Spivot incapacitates the Flash to kill somebody who messed up with her family. So, and then somebody gave me, it's essentially a community of people watching TV at the same time. And that's at least how I've treated it. When it comes to spoilers, certain shows and certain things are, like if I was live tweeting Mr. Robot, which is my favorite show, and you know this, that's one of the shows where I will not spoil anything from that show because it's so dependent on its reveals. It's essentially you shouldn't be on Twitter and you're not watching that show live. But because I have so much respect for it, I make a conscious effort. But for Supergirl and Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, I'll sometimes find a clever way to make mention of it because if you're just going through a live tweet of a show and you're not anything, it's gonna be one hell of a boring live tweet because it's gonna be like, hey, that's great, oh, that's awesome. If you can't get into specifics, then what are you following that tweet for? You treat it like a community watching everything, an event at the same time. That's how I do it.
And I agree with that. The one thing I will never fully spoil on anything, whether I'm watching it the next day or whether I'm watching it live, is the ending of any of Supergirl, Flash, Legends. I might say, "Oh my God, that's when I do the general stuff." Oh my God, that ending, or holy crap, I can't believe they did that. That's when I'll do the general stuff. But if there's a line like there was a line in last week's Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've seen Men of Steel fall and Dark Knights. Or I've seen Men of Steel die and Dark Knights fall.
Right.
I mean, come on.
I'm quoting that out. Yeah, if I'm watching it,
I'm just waiting for Cavill and Affleck to show up. I know they won't.
Shoot, there was a big Easter egg. I won't say that was on. Well, there was a crap ton on The Flash yesterday, and. I didn't say it. Somebody told
we could talk about it because it's already been out there. They've been rumoring it.
Well, I'm not even talking about the. We'll just say the crossover thing. I'm talking about there's the bunch of names on this original. Well, there's a bunch of names on the speed dial, and that was a really cool Easter egg that I had missed. Because I was probably tweeting something that happened 5 seconds before because that episode was chock full of Easter eggs. So everybody was like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And somebody had told me that and tweeted to me and I retweeted it on my thing because I treat it as we're all in a big auditorium connected through the internet and we're just talking, you're making a movie commentary. Because if you put up any movie commentary for anything, the first things that people usually tell you is, if you're listening to this, you probably want to stop and watch the show first. So spoilers are kind of expected if you're listening to it like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we're all at a Apple event or something.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, I mean the superhero stuff. Like you said, you stopped doing Gotham.
And the only reason I stopped is because it comes on against Supergirl, and I was told by Bubba to pick. No, I asked him, Bubba, who's in charge of the site where I live tweet from, and he was like, "What do you want to do? You want to live tweet Supergirl? Or you want to live tweet Gotham?" And not to get into any spoilers on Gotham, but I'm not a really big fan of that show, so it was kind of like this like which child will I sacrifice? I don't like this child, but I really don't like this child. So, okay, I'm going to get the really don't like this child, and I'll watch Supergirl. But if there's ever a time where Gotham changes days, I might have to go back to it. Please, God, don't let that happen. Please, God, don't let that happen. So, yeah, I live.
Gotham. Gotham has been. Season 2 has been much better. I'll say that. Season 1 was a huge cluster flunk. It really was, and
it's a show that has painted itself into a corner that we all saw coming. At the end of the day, you can't have Batman. So what am I watching this show for?
Yeah,
that's always going to be the crux of the show. If you make it good for you. But at the end, it's always going to be the sword of whatever they call it, Damocles. Yeah, just hanging over your head. Where's Batman? Is Batman going to show up? Because you're giving me everybody else but Batman. So that's kind of why I sit on Gotham, though.
Like I said, season 2 for Gotham, I've been really super stoked about it. I had been watching it. The funny thing is, when all the shows came back off holiday break, everything came back pretty quick. You had, in 1 week, the 18th, the 19th, the 20th, and the 21st of January. That those 4 days, you had Supergirl, you had Flash, you had Arrow, and you had the premiere of Legends. So you got 4 days a week with superhero shows right there. Gotham isn't coming back or hasn't come back yet at all until like this coming Monday, I think. I don't even know. I just don't know, but it's like Gotham. I know Gotham didn't come back at the same time as everything else because it's Fox, it's not CBS, CW, whatever. Right. And I saw a news story that, and I don't think this was an Onion story because I don't think they would do something that's stupid, but it might have been from some unreliable source site or what. I don't even know. I saw a news story a few weeks ago. Oh my God! Fish Mooney's return.
I did see that.
As soon as I saw that,
I saw that.
I tweeted and said, "Oh my God! Gotham is going back in the gutter."
I think I saw that from you because I was.
Oh really?
Because I was just scanning through my Twitter and I saw a picture of Jada Pinkett as Fish Mooney. I'm like, I'm so glad I don't have to watch this show anymore. So glad because she was the reason where in the first season where I was like, this show is bad. And it's not even Jada Pinkett's she's a reliable actress. And the fact that they were doing that with her character was like, I don't think they know what this show is yet. And the fact that they're going back, and in the second season, or when she had to do that thing with the doll maker, it was just so out of place and like two different shows happening. So when they told me, oh, she's coming back, I was just, thank God, please. Don't ever switch your dates. Please, God. Right where you are.
You're just in fear
I'm just in fear of it moving. We're moving it to Friday nights. I'm like, oh God, no. Yeah.
If they move Gotham to Friday nights, and I know everyone says Friday night is the death knell for television.
Especially for Fox.
Friday night never used to be the death knell for television. It used to be, hey, it's almost the weekend, TGIF and all this and other stuff and everything else. And but spoilers. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and tweet out every single line, or I'm not going to sit here and tweet out exactly the events that actually happened. Mm-hmm. I might say something like, "Oh damn, Zoom just snapped Barry's finger." I don't know. But it's just one of those things where I think in the television world at this point, and this can also extend to movies too, but specifically television, we're all living in a world that if you just ever so slightly move your foot over that egg, the shell is going to crack and the entire internet is going to come down on you for fear of spoiling something that, this is why I like the Netflix model.
Yeah, it sucks, but it's great. It sucks, but it's great because I would love to live tweet Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage is coming up, but I can't because it's just I'm gonna sit in a room for 2 days and just binge watch the living hell out of the show. But yeah,
I'm one of these people because I do all the stuff on my computer. I don't have iDevices or tablets or any of that portable stuff or anything like that or mobile or anything like that. But so I'm sitting here on my computer, and what I did with Daredevil season one is I watched like the first 6 episodes at one point, and then I went back and I watched like the next two, and then the next, so I spaced it out. I think it was over, I spaced it out over like I don't know 3 days.
You have so much willpower, my friend.
Well, no. Don't get me wrong. Daredevil is awesome. It really, really is. The 2 episodes of that first season that really got
It's
me.
like cocaine. It's like
Yeah. It was oh god, Shadows in the Glass.
Right.
It was episode. I think it was episode 8, Shadows in the Glass, which is the kind of the origin or the backstory for Kingpin.
yeah.
And Nelson and Murdoch, the flashback story of how Foggy and Matt first
the college years.
Yeah. Foggy and Matt, the college years. Oh God, where's Zach and Slater?
Screech is there. Yeah.
Oh God, no. He's too busy. Oh God,
Don't go there.
That was the other thing. This is completely separate. We're going on a tangent, folks. I'm sorry, Steve, but that was the other thing. When the news popped up, and this is kind of TV related since we already mentioned Saved by the Bell, but when the news popped up that Lisa Lark Voorhees was getting a divorce, I tweeted out and I'm like, hey, now's your time, Screech.
Oh wait,
Somebody else said he's either in jail or going to jail.
He's
Going
to jail.
Well,
they're always ships passing in the night. Those two.
Yeah. But no, the superhero stuff, especially what CW and CBS, like I know everyone in the world, or everyone at least in my circle, said, "Oh my God, CBS is doing Supergirl. Oh my God, CBS. Oh my God, oh my," and they're like, it was like Heath Ledger, Joker all over again. It's like, guys, come on. It might be on CBS, but it's still Greg Berlanti.
Yeah, it's still Kreisberg and Berlanti. So
it's still Kressberg. It's still all these people.
I just think because Flash seems to, especially the beginning of this season, and pretty much throughout this season, has been kind of off and on episodes. It has hit such a good stride. That's no pun intended. Of the show. Supergirl's been kind of hot and cold for me, and maybe hot and cold for other people. You kind of just don't want one show to poison another show. Like Flash makes Arrow better. Arrow has been kind of in the doldrums since A Fall Off a Cliff. Yeah, but when he shows up on Flash, it's like, oh, this is the Arrow I liked. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think people are afraid of it to go in the reverse because Supergirl's still trying to get her legs under her as a show. And I think it's made some strides. They do have that kind of Fish Mooney thing going on there with Calista Flockhart, but whatever.
No, you take that back.
No. She's okay. She's not complete Fish Mooney, but she's right there on the overacting front. She's like right there.
But that's her character. She's supposed to be. I mean,
Harry White of the show. It's just.
No! Don't you even dare insult Lane Smith. I will jump.
No! I'm not insulting. I'm just saying that's the role she's filling. She's filling the I'm the boss kind of thing. It's just. Yeah. I just think that Calista Flockhart's a great actress. She doesn't have to do. I'm the boss and I'm mean and I'm. She doesn't really. I wish they would just subtle it down like Joe does on Flash or Diggle does on Arrow.
Would you rather have Cat Grant be that version of Cat Grant that is in Supergirl, or would you rather have her be the hot to trot slut that's in Lois and Clark?
Oh, well, see, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it through Flash eyes, like. You got Jesse L. Martin, who's he's my favorite character on that show because he essentially grounds that show for me, and he doesn't go over the top and go crazy. And Calista Flockhart is probably just as talented as he. Well, probably not because he's a singer, but she's also very talented. She could be that force for Supergirl, but I just feel like it's falling in. When I say the Fish Mooney thing, Jada Pinkett was essentially, I'm the bad guy, like overacting everything, where subtlety, I think, would have been better. If Fish Mooney was more subtle and more like of a badass, I think it would work. and they went the other route. And I think Calista Flockhart, sometimes she does this Devil Wears Prada thing. And I'm like, well, you don't really need to do that. It'd be better if she was more, I mean, not everybody can be J.K. Simmons. Okay. J.K. Simmons can nail the over the top J. Jonah Jameson thing.
Well, yeah, but because it's Jameson. I mean, and I don't necessarily. I mean, okay, yeah, she is technically the Perry White of the Supergirl universe, but even the Perry Whites that we've had in the past, from the original Superman film to various other Superman incarnations, even even the Fish in Man of Steel. But for me, my all-time favorite of Perry will always be Lane Smith. Anybody in the world can fight me on how good or bad Lois and Clark is when it comes to their storylines. I don't give a crap. You say a bad thing about Lane Smith.
No.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying anybody. Say a bad thing about Lane Smith as Perry White. We're going to have some fighting words there, because that's why I don't think necessarily Cat Grant, Calista Flockhart on Supergirl is trying to fill, because she even references Perry in the show. Whether Perry shows up, who knows? The one thing that Supergirl could have gone over the top with, and they kind of did this in the beginning, and it almost made me fall off, because I'm just like, either do it or don't do it. Stop referencing it.
Superman?
Stop showing a shadow. Yes. Stop showing. Okay, I don't mind the texts and the emails and the back and forth chat things like on mobile devices or computer. I don't mind that, because to me, and I know this will never happen, but to me, that's Tom Welling.
Yeah.
It's Tom Welling. I know that'll probably never happen. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But to me, that's Tom Welling Clark Kent talking back to her. It's not Henry Cavill. It's not Dean, as much as Dean. It can't be Dean Cain, because that was her dad.
That show again. It's not as bad as Gotham, because you know you're never ever gonna get a Batman on that show. But for here, it's kind of a different type of screwed up, because I almost wished when I first heard her doing Supergirl, and I'm like, okay, well, if she's gonna be where she is, there's no way she can be in super danger and Superman not save her. I wish they would have just or help her or anything. I really wish they would have had the first episode where Superman says to her, I'm leaving the planet for a while. I need you to look after it for me. And then we would never have to freaking worry about, why wouldn't Superman come and help her when 85 Kryptonians are blowing up a building? That would be the time where Superman would come, you'd think.
Well, they did go over that.
Yeah, they kind of said like, I'm saving a volcano in Peru, and I'm like, you're Superman. You can save a volcano in Peru and come back literally in 5 seconds. It's really, you're Superman. It's not like he's Batman. He's limited by human time. He's the second fastest person on the planet. So,
I mean, they did kind of go over that with Jimmy and the watch and all this and all that and everything else. And I that's the one minor nitpick I have about the show, because now that they've gone over that and they've kind of moved past the whole Superman thing, when Jimmy has used the watch, it's to call her, not to call him.
Which is weird. That's why I said I wish they would have saved themselves so much. If let's say you get Tom Welling for one episode, he's in the pilot episode, and he tells Kara, "Look, you were supposed to take care of me, but now I got to go do something 8 planets away to go check on Krypton or whatever the hell it is. I need you to watch out for the planet for me." Then, if Kara's in trouble and she has to deal with crap herself, I can understand. I'm not going to be sitting there the whole time. Where the hell is Superman? Superman would be a great person to call at this situation. Superman, where's Superman? Your brain's going to go there. For Gotham, you're like, this sucks, because there's no Batman ever coming. Supergirl, you're like, okay, Kara. I understand they want to show that Kara can get on her own feet, but I think there's even more urgency if she doesn't have that umbrella of people complain about all the Marvel solo films, because they're like, why didn't they call Iron Man? Why didn't they call Captain America? Where are these people? If you put them off the planet, then you don't have to worry about Supergirl being in trouble by literal threats that are going to kill the Earth that Superman is on, and Superman not showing up. That's the problem. And it's you're right. It's a little nitpicky, but I think it's
it is. But and I admit that it is a little nitpicky when it comes to Jimmy's watch and all that. But I liked, as far as the stories they've told on Supergirl. You had said that some of the episodes are hit and miss. Right. To me, I've liked everything that they've adapted to her.
Mm-hmm.
They've done episodes where it's talking about not her origin, but her family and the whole Astra thing and Non. And oh my God, Non actually can speak. He's not the brain dead idiot from Dick Donner days. You know,
I like the brain dead idiot.
He what? Okay, come on, seriously. All he did was he lurched it.
It was entertaining.
Now
she's fighting Jason Isaacs, apparently, or Jason Isaacs' cousin, or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, but it's one of those things where, like, you take an episode where it focuses on that, or where it focuses on whatever the hell Max Lord is doing, or it takes an episode like this past week and gives us, for the girl who has everything, the Black Mercy and the whole thing, and it gives us an homage to a classic comic story or a classic cartoon story or whatever you want to, whatever you first saw that story. And I just like the whole Bizarro thing. I was like, oh my God, this could go so wrong so many ways, and I think they pulled it off so well.
Yeah, again, all my problems with the Bizarro episode, which I did like, were nitpicky. It was more of, if you're going to use Bizarro, why not do the Bizarro thing? But it's that's from a nitpicky comic geek place. But
I think the reason why they didn't use traditional Bizarro, it's because it is Supergirl, and they wanted to build this whole mistrust and misdirection thing with Max, and
because he's one of the things I say is great. And I know they're kind of doing the Arrow thing where they're just taking the Arrow takes Batman stories and makes them his own, and she's taking Superman stories and making them her. But there's one thing I do like about it, where she has her own Lex Luthor, and Maxwell Lord, I think, is a really good character on that show, for a good foil for her to deal with. I wish they would kind of get away, or at least change up the whole villain of the week thing. I like the Maxwell Lord season-long arc. That's why I was kind of hoping the Bizarro thing would be a little bit longer, his plot, because Maxwell Lord is a really good character on that show. He's one of the few that I really, really like, and I'm glad they're not like shuffling him off to, whatever.
It's the first time in 13 years that I've absolutely loved anything Peter Fasinelli is.
You didn't like Fastlane? Come on.
No. That's what I'm saying. It's been since I loved Fastlane.
Him just driving around in cars and solving crimes.
Fastlane was so. Anyway, all right, folks. We've been going on long enough about superheroes. So spoilers, tweeting live, whatever else. Don't tweet every single second of the plot. I don't do that. I tweet quotes and certain things. Oh, I like, what happened there, that kind of thing. I'm not out to ruin anyone's enjoyment of it. I figure we can all enjoy it together.
And be conscious. If you're going to be on, if you don't want to be spoiled, don't go to Twitter, because especially even if it wasn't me spoiling anything, because I walk around it, somebody's going to do it to you. When Star Wars, you're talking about Star Wars when it came out, I'm not going on the internet until I watch it, because I know it's going to happen. It's going to be somebody's going to be a dick. So I just avoid it. Don't go there and then expect everybody to follow your rules. Be cognizant of idiots. Be cognizant who may not even care about you. They're talking to somebody else and you just happen to be there. Just be cognizant. Lock yourself away. Don't do it.
So we're going to get back to Steve and Altered Geek Unleashed and whatever else he has going on, and I'm sure we'll have DJ back for more superhero talk at some point.
If I can get if I get another invitation under this bridge. this whole jar thing you got going on here, I love it. I love it a lot.
Oh no, I've said this to you before. I got plenty of plans I can use you for. So we're going to get back to the rest of Altered Geek Unleashed, and we'll see you next time.
Well, I am shocked and dismayed. Well, now you can't be both. You be shocked, I'll be dismayed.
Coming in 2016, Steve Megatron and myself, TF2 and Mike, bring you a brand new TV review show. Welcome to Podcaster Meets World. That's right, we're launching a Boy and Girl Meets World review podcast here on the GCRN. It'll take us 70 episodes of the podcast to review all 158 episodes of Boy Meets World. After that, we will tackle Girl Meets World. You can find Podcaster Meets World on GeekCastRadio.com and iTunes starting late summer, early fall 2016. So come on and walk through the world with us.
I love the thing they call.
Ladies and gentlemen, TF2 and Mike here from the Geekcast Radio Network.
Ooh.
technical difficulties. Let's move on, shall we?
Have you been listening to my comic podcast, The Pull Bag, on the GCRN? We've been going strong since 2013, and now I'm putting a call out to you, the internet. Here's your chance to tell your comic reading stories. I'm looking for podcasters who read, collect, or are otherwise involved in comics. Comic writers, artists, enthusiasts, anyone. So, if you want to jump inside the pull bag and be on an Origins episode, there are only 5 requirements. You must be over the age of 21. We are an explicit network. You must have a decent sounding microphone set up. You must have 6 months to 1 year of podcasting experience. You must have 30 minutes to an hour to podcast. And number 5, and most importantly, you must have fun. If you can meet all these requirements, then send an email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. In the subject line, put TPB Origins Guest Appearance and your name, nickname, or online handle, whatever you choose to use. And as always, make your great escape into comics. I have been TFG and Mike for the Pull Bag and the GCRN. Unleash the geek in you.
I'm not hearing this.